So this is going to be a very fascinating video. I will begin this video by saying these are my opinions. You know the video is going to go pretty wild when I have to start the video with these are my opinions, right? So who is the H3Snark lawyer? What type of lawyer, in my mind, a copyright attorney, an IP lawyer, would subject themselves to whatever this is? This is a lot. This is a lot of information. This is a lot of documents, a lot of YouTube videos, the concept is to at least look at it before putting it in a legal document to submit to the court to then make public. We are talking about 10,000 plus hours of content reading, various mega threads, as well as entire live streams of video that have been documented and timestamped. According to the H3Snark moderator, he or she does not have a ton of money. So then the question really becomes, if it's not about money, and I believe the H3 mods don't have a ton of money to pay, then what type of person would accept a client like this? A client that is very needy, very time wanting. I mean, it's just going to eat up all your time, and a client that may not have much money, right? According to the client themselves, they don't have much money in the filings that you have actually filed. So you don't, if you don't need more evidence than that. So I went to look at the law firm. It is a smaller law firm. It is a law firm that does specialize in IP. We're going to read you what it specializes in, but in particular, so Lair Volek is, this is not alphabetical. As you can see, Carl Cronenberg and Jeffrey Rosenfeld are the two lawyers on top, and Lair Volek is the last lawyer on the list. I can tell you that does make a difference. If you are a partner, you will not be last on that list over a associate attorney. It does make a difference. So we have advertising law, trademark, copyright, trade secrets, international discovery, false advertising and defamation, anonymous online misconduct, privacy and cybersecurity, spam law, domain names, and so on. Here is Lair's. Let me point something out. So she graduated Ohio State with a BA in history, magna cum laude, congratulations, but she has no law school. Let me say that again. She didn't go to law school. At least according to her profile, it is, in my opinion, based on what I see here, she didn't go to law school. She became a lawyer using California Rule of Admission 4.29. Not every state has this, by the way. It's going to be very state specific. So she went to college in Ohio, decided she wanted to practice law in California, but didn't go to law school in this very special program. And you might be like, oh, that's AI review. Yeah, most stuff, even on lawyer websites today, they're written by AI for something called search engine optimization. So yes, every content you're reading online, outside of like user-generated content on like Reddit or YouTube comments, is probably AI generated, especially in the legal field. I'll just tell you that from owning a marketing agency at this point in time. So this is actually a rule in the state of California where you don't need to go to law school and you can still become a lawyer. Very interesting, right? Again, state dependent, and not every state will have this option. But in California, there are strict requirements where a lawyer is your mentor. It's almost like trade school, right? Like you need a mentor. And yeah, it's exactly like an apprenticeship in California. Now, is this common? No, it is not common. You can complete at least 2 years of college to finish the rest of their legal education in a law office or a judge's chamber. A person must have studied in a law office at least 18 hours each week for at least 48 hours to receive credit for 1 year of study in law school. Now, this would explain a lot. Now, am I saying that lawyers who go to law school are better than lawyers who don't go to law school? In my personal opinion, yes. There are a lot of things that you interact with other students that you learn. You're learning different types of law, right? Like law professors are generally experts in their field. I had a law professor on the First Amendment, and he was the expert on the First Amendment, the leading source on First Amendment thought and legal rulings and so on. So when you go to law school, you're hoping that you will be taught by the very best lawyers out there. In their different fields. So your civil law professor is different from your torts, it's different from your IP professor, different from your patent professor, different from your banks and trust professor, different from your family law professor, different from your First Amendment professor or constitutional law professor. These are these are different professors that have spent their entire lives researching in the scholastics, if you will. And some of them actually have practiced law to a very high degree. So when you're looking at this stuff, why is it so long? Why is it written the way it is? People have said it's AI written, which should, again, it's not my opinion this is AI written. I think I can explain this even better. So that's an explanation that people in the comment sections have been making. Oh, AI wrote this. How could, I'm reading this. It must be AI. Look at the amount of stuff generated. I'm a patent attorney. The best patent attorneys, my dad's he was a patent attorney, then he went into contracts and so on. You learned very early on, the best patent attorneys get to the point very fast because they don't have time to do this. You have a lot of clients. And when you have a lot of clients, you want to be you don't want to present multiple areas that can attack you. So you don't want to go very broad. You just want to get to the point. So when a patent attorney or a patent agent corresponds with a patent examiner who doesn't want to give you your patent, or again, it's a opposition type of nature. That's been my experience, at least. You do not have time for them to go after your second or third or fifth or fourth argument. That's not going to happen. You're going to go after the first argument, and if your first argument wins, everything else is moot. You won. You got your patent. We're done. We saved everyone time. We saved everyone headache. And at the end of the day, nobody is spending 10,000 plus hours having to read this to comprehend, what this is. A lot of it, in my opinion, is completely irrelevant. It is written very poorly. There's no logic behind. Is it chronological? No, there's different. It's like a really bad movie. Like it's a really bad movie where you have multiple characters. You have Ethan Klein. You have San. Why is Frogan part of this story? I get it if they sued in the Frogan case and they wanted Reddit turn it, and they very might ask in the Frogan case because you might get different discovery, like Frogan's text messages to mods, if they do exist. But in this particular case, it's only about dead-ends. Why is Shoe on Head? Why is all these other people being mentioned? Why is Jay Shetty? Like, I don't even know like 90% of the people here being mentioned. And I don't need to know 90% of the people here mentioned because this is a case. When you link to Dead-End's live stream, is that potentially, again, you don't have to prove guilt at this point, right? We're only trying to figure out, is there a potential guilty? Can you potentially be guilty of contributory copyright infringement? Well, that depends on the text messages that you and Denon talk to. It depends on your DMs. It depends on a lot of things that we don't have at this point in time. And again, this lawsuit should just say, we don't have those. And that's all it really needs to say, is that we, as I mentioned, if I was a lawyer, I would just make this like 5 pages. I'm not guilty. I'm not guilty because of this reason. I'm not guilty because I had no idea Denons would commit copyright infringement. I'm not guilty because Denon didn't commit copyright infringement. But even if she did, I'm not guilty because I had no idea she committed copyright infringement. Even if I had an idea Denon would commit copyright infringement, I had no idea she would commit at the level. That's the mitigation that we always talk about in the other cases that you guys like to comment about. I mentioned quite often. Carl Jobs, right? The mitigation. There was very little to no mitigation on Carl Jobs' behalf, and the judge slammed him with the full amount that he could slam him with. So back to the the questions here. Like the question here is, what type of lawyer would be okay with putting her name, his name behind something like this, and then being it public, and then understanding that I cover it, Legal Mindset is going to cover it, other people on YouTube, even non-lawyers, are going to cover this issue. Reddit, of course, Reddit is going to get this now. A lawyer that didn't go to law school. I mean, there you go. I mean, is she a lawyer? Yes. I am not contesting that she is not a lawyer, but she went a atypical route to become a lawyer, which is weird, right? When you think of a lawyer, okay, most of you just kind of just forget everything I just said. Think about a lawyer. You go to hire a lawyer, and you learn that lawyer became a lawyer because by not going to law school, like you would expect. Let's say somebody sues you. God forbid Logan Paul sues you for defamation. You go to the law office. Would you think that lawyer went to law school? Yes, you wouldn't even imagine, you wouldn't even know that there are programs, because you're a non-lawyer, you're just a layman, right? That's our terminology for you. You would not even know that most average people wouldn't even know you could become a lawyer without going to law school. You would assume that you went to law school for 3 years, got taught, passed the bar exam. Here, it's not the case. And like I said, it's very bizarre, because I go back to the original question I've asked is, what type of lawyer would be okay putting their name behind this? Let me explain something. Very early on in my legal career, I met a patent troll. He was from Nokia. He had somehow acquired a bunch of Nokia patents. He was in Dallas, and he wanted to work together. I absolutely hate patent trolls. A patent troll is a patent attorney who essentially does what he does. He gets the Nokia patents, and then he sues every small business with any radius to him. It's almost like those handicap attorneys, which are just as bad as patent trolls, in my opinion. And they go to a shopping area, they push, the client, I put that in quotations. Oh, the client can't get to here. The client can't use the bathroom. I get that, I get it should be wheelchair accessible and so on, but then they would sue everyone in the neighborhood. They document it, then they sue, and then they sue. They're not expecting to win, they're expecting to settle. That is the idea of a patent troll as well. And once you become a patent troll, once you have your name on these lawsuits, your career's over. No law firm is going to hire you. No litigation. Your career is dead. It's dead in the water. So when I was interviewing for this job, as soon as I found out it was a patent troll, I interviewed in person. I took the plane back. I took the next plane back. It actually had arranged plane tickets, and there was supposed to be a lot of like events and so on. I bought my own ticket just to go back home, because I was not. It went as soon as it became apparent, and it wasn't apparent till like maybe an hour in that something wasn't right, and then later it became really apparent like what his law firm actually did. He hid it well, and the reason you hide it is because you understand that you're not going to get recruits. I interviewed with 2 other individuals, and they all flew back to, like, one of them was from Ohio. And yeah, we all just kind of looked at each other and said, yeah, we got to get the hell out of here, because you understand there are certain things you can do as a lawyer that will stain your reputation as a lawyer that you have to avoid. I would suggest that this is definitely one of them, given the coverage that Legal Mindset, other people, Reddit, there's you guys even watching the video will watch. And secondly, it's just weird. It's just weird. Again, she probably saved a shit ton of money not going to law school, and good on her. That's probably the path forward for more people. Let me put it this: more people should do the path that she did. Okay, but you put your name behind this, you're going to be criticized for other things that are not relevant, and that's exactly what I'm presenting here. Is what is the relevancy that she didn't go to law school? How relevant is this to actually putting your name behind this? I would never put my name behind something like this. The best patent attorneys, my dad was one when I was in middle school. He always taught me how to do patents. This is how I got my allowance to buy Pokemon packs, was I had to train to be a patent attorney. And The very best patent attorneys, even I understood when I was in 6th grade, the best patents in this world are simple. There's this big Pokemon patent that everyone's freaking out about. It's simple. That's why they're freaking out about it. It's not complicated what they're trying to patent. It's a really simple, very clean, very obvious patent. This thing is just not it. I would never put my name behind something like this because it would stain my reputation. Again, my opinion. That's for me personally. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Longer video, but I thought it was an interesting topic to talk about. Hi, guys.